So I'm recording outside today, so bear with me if there's a little bit of outside noise. For today's video, I'm going to be taking a quick look at a pen that promises quite a lot. A pen that's able to write soft and write hard on a whim, literally on a twist of a knob. And that's the Pilot Justus 95. So this pen is the second generation of the Justus. The first generation came out in the 80s, based on what I read, and this is the latest incarnation of the pen that came out. So looking at the pen, I bought this pen incidentally used. If you buy it brand new, it will cost you roughly $300 US. And you would have a choice when you buy this pen of either getting a fine nib, a medium nib, or in my case, a fine medium. However, it does look like the fine medium is only available in Japan, or if you buy it from Japan. So, first impression of this pen is it's a large pen, right? For most of the people who are viewing this channel, you would be very familiar with the custom 823. Right, so the 823 is just barely a smidgen longer than the Justus 95, as you can tell. However, the Justus feels thicker somehow. That's the first initial impression that I got when I saw this pen. Second initial impression that I got was this finish. The pen actually comes in two finishes. They are both resin pens, but the first finish, which the one I got, is called barley-corn, and it's very, very hard to kind of get that in the video. But there's actually strips or rows of like lines down here, and then you would have this kind of effect of kind of dots in the middle of those stripes. So it's a very, very nice finish, and I've never seen this finish on any other pen, either from Pilot or maybe other manufacturers might have that. The other finish which is available for the Justus 95 is just a striped finish, and that's very nice as well, but I very much prefer this barley-corn finish. The other thing about this pen obviously is that it has flat ends, and if you look at the ends themselves, I'm trying to get the camera to focus, it's just a flat finial down here and the same flat finial down here. The clip here is interesting. It looks like it's laser engraved. Right, so it's a double arrow, and then you have a inner kind of arrow down here. So it's reminiscent of an arrow design, aka the Parker logo, but it's in etching form, which I kind of like actually. I'm not the biggest fan of the little ball at the end of the clip that Pilot pens typically have. You would have a band on top of the cap, and then you have a center band, single stripe down here, and down here you'll see the word Justus 95 and Pilot Japan. So there's no 3 stars or 2 stars, and there's no mention of custom anywhere. Right. So opening up the cap, inside the cap there isn't really anything down there. There's plastic threads. And you get the body down here, which is also has plastic threads down here. And if you open up the body, you'll get just a plain plastic end, and you'll get Con 70. You do get metal section down here, which is nice. So the pen actually comes with a nice gift box, which looks different from all the other Pilot gift boxes that usually come with it. However, like this is a second-hand pen, I did not get all of that. So it comes with the gift box instruction set, and it also comes with a cartridge and this converter, the Con 70. So moving on to the more interesting part of the pen, you get the grip area, the section area, and in the middle of this section area you would get this little knurling. I think it's called knurling, and when you twist that knurling, that's the part that moves the pen from, or rather this little stabilizing bar down here, from being soft to being hard. However, the effect isn't very great, as you'll see later on in the writing sample. The question that most people would get is whether or not this knurling would interfere with the grip, right, when you're holding the pen like this. And for me, yes, you definitely can feel it. It's not very irritating, but you definitely can feel it. And the nib itself, so the nib itself has, it's pretty much a normal fountain pen nib, except for this stabilizing bar or brace right here, which moves up and down as I showed you earlier on. On the nib it says Pilot Japan, and on the other side of the nib it says FM, so this is fine medium 14K 585, which is the percentage of gold in the 14K nib. The feed is pretty standard as well when it comes to feeds. So I'm going to write a little bit with this pen. So I'm using Rhodia today, and I'm going to be writing it this way. So this is the Pilot Justus 95 in fine medium. The ink I'm using is Pilot Hiroshi Suku Konpeki. And the initial feeling when I got this pen was it's soft, right? So even in the hard setting, right, when you're writing, just write my usual. So it's a very soft feeling nib if you hit the sweet spot. However, it is slightly feedbacky, right? If you don't kind of hit the sweet spot, it's a very small area of sweet spot just because of the way that the nib is designed. I think the nib design, it feels like it's flat rather than round, right? So what I mean by that is you would have this area which is the writing area. However, it's not absolutely round, right? So therefore you just feel this part being smooth, and the rest of the nib, sorry, terrible drawing of a nib, the rest of the nib on the sides doesn't really feel that smooth. So moving on to the soft side of things, right? So I mean, if I were to kind of do a bit of line and write again, first thing that I note is the lines, without doing much pressure, they start to get slightly, ever so slightly thicker, right, which you'll see later on when I bring the paper up. So it's just very, very slight that you see that this is the soft and this is the hard. It's just ever so slightly broader, just because you have actually, minimized the bracing so that this area down here would kind of flex more, right? in terms of actual flexing, at the soft setting, and it's hard to kind of do this on the camera, but I don't really notice a huge difference when it's on soft versus when it's on hard. I mean, there's tiny bit more line width on the soft setting versus the hard, but even the hard is kind of nice to use. So and in terms of whether or not, because this is a kind of a semi-flex pen, will the pen kind of dry out and railroad? Probably yes, if you write very, very fast, right? But as you can see down here, you know, there's not much railroading from this particular pen, at least my particular pen. So some closing thoughts about this pen. Is this pen the best of both worlds, as in a pen that can, you know, if you desire to kind of write artistically, you can use the soft mode. If you want to write with normal paper, day-to-day writing, you can use the hard mode. Is this a pen that can do that? In a way, yes. I think it can. However, it probably would fall short on both of those areas. So if, you know, I have a pilot fine, lots of pilot pens with the fine nib, and those would do better at the fine end for everyday writing. And I have you know, pens that have the very soft nib, like for example this FA down here, and these would be much softer than the softest setting on this particular pen. So I mean, it's a compromise pen. I mean, asking it to do two jobs essentially would, you know, mean that you would definitely have a compromise unless the design was like perfect. The other note that I wanted to talk about was the fact that my pen is in FM, or fine medium. I might contemplate getting a fine version of this pen rather than the fine medium, because the fine, I feel, would enable me to write a little bit finer and enable the nib to kind of flex a little bit more, right? But those are just my thoughts. Maybe those of you who have this pen in fine, you know, might be able to kind of give some color on that. But so those are my initial thoughts on this pen. It's a pretty unique pen. I would describe this pen as a pen to be used. It's like a workman-like design. It's not a very pretty pen, with the exception of the finish, which I absolutely adore. However, it's a pen to be used. It's a pen that's very, very it's very usable, you know, because of its size, right? So it's about 130 mm, you know, without being capped. So for me, it's kind of the perfect size pen, not too big, not too small. So that kind of summarizes my quick look of the Justus. Hope you like the quick look, and I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye bye.